So I'm Muralidharan Ramachandran. I'm representing here as the CIO for Startek, which is a global BPO company, specifically focused on the customer experience domain. So we do an omni-channel customer experience services for our global customers. Very clearly, I think cloud computing is changing significantly in terms of the ability to deliver services in a very agile manner, in a scalable manner. If you have to put it at very short, I'm just giving you some major things, right? Compared to what it would be if it is an on-premise model, right? Your ability to quickly be agile, be able to scale up and scale down based on the business dynamics is something that helps an organization. To add to that, obviously, artificial intelligence today is adding a lot more insights into it. Now, artificial intelligence is touching in organizations in every way. You take it every area or every function within the organization. Artificial intelligence is revolutionizing things, right? And that's the way I look at it, whether it is business, specifically to a company like Startek, which is in the customer experience domain. Typical use cases could be something like, how could I help our agents be more productive, be more empathetic to our customers? These are areas where we use technologies like agent assist, sentiment analysis, etc., which just enhances the interactions that our agents have with our customers. So I think it's a question of how you really look at it. I think one of the biggest challenges in cloud always is about control over cost, run over cost, right? When you really look at some of these things, do you have a control over it? Because many times you just hand it over to business. And if you don't have control, you're not able to predict your costs that comes in, right? Unlike in an on-prem model where you know exactly what is it that you're buying and deploying. I think that is one of the challenges what you're there. And that's where a lot of these things is around governance. How is it that you work collaboratively with the business teams to collaborate and ensure that some of these things are very well managed and adopted. I think that's, I would say, is one of the major, challenges about cloud computing that needs to do. Second, obviously, is to really look at it more from a perspective of operating expenses. Now, some of the challenges that some companies have is in terms of whether you want to have as an OpEx model or as a CapEx model. Based on the organization, some organizations prefer a CapEx model over OpEx model. So which means cloud then becomes a little bit difficult in their business model. I think these are some of the challenges that I see as which comes in with cloud adoption, which needs to be managed. I think there are two things. One obviously is whatever is core to us. That is something that we continue to keep building, upskilling, cross-skilling our teams so that we are able to manage it much more effectively. That's one thing which is there because technology is core to our business. Okay, and it's not incidental to our business, right? So I think that's why it's extremely important that we do that. The second obviously is we also use a lot of outsourcing strategies, in terms of getting skills or contractors from the market to supplement some of the shortage of skills that we may have in the short run, while in the longer run, obviously try and see how is it that we upskill ourselves. We are again a global company with operations in 10 to 12 countries. So obviously there are specific regulations that are there in every country that we operate in that we need to comply with. To add to that, being in the customer experience space means we have a lot of access to PII information, which privacy becomes extremely important, which means we have to comply with the necessary privacy norms. Again, within that sector, we are sector agnostic, so we may have customers across banking and financial services, healthcare, retail, and multiple segments, right? Again, based on domain, there are specific regulations that are there. So obviously we look at a lot on those elements about how is it that our processes are all compliant. Apart from that, obviously we put some of the basic elements in place, right? Through following some of the NIST frameworks, ISO 27001 and some of these standards to ensure that at least we have a common minimum baseline program. In addition to that, based on specific customer requirements, we do additional specific targeted initiatives which takes care of that. Last thing is I would like to talk about data residency, right? Because when you really look at some of these things, there are also regulations around Where is it that you store data? I will not say that many times we obviously access data which is hosted at our customers' premises, but wherever there are requirements that we need to have some data within our control, we ensure that some of those things are also taken care of. I think we are at the very early start, at the early beginning stages of what we really see in terms of adoption of AI in cloud computing. Of course, cloud computing, there are two models. There is, on one hand, cloud computing has been there for over a decade now. It all started with a lot of people moving into cloud. You also hear about cases where there is repatriation from the cloud back into on-prem because of some of the challenges that we talked about in terms of inability to control costs and other things. But this is something that's going to stay. I think this is something that's going to give the agility and other things. Where I think what will differentiate organizations is their ability to leverage it in the best possible way for their business. Now, a lot of things will also talk about scenarios where it depends on the business model. But if we are able to articulate the right value, get the right use cases, put in the right governance, okay, I'm sure this is going to be a runaway success. This is going to really tremendously benefit all organizations.